I was doing like breathing exercises before it because I was
I've heard
shitting
you say that,
so
yeah.
much. But
Was that the
same
most
thing.
nervous you've ever been meeting Ronaldo? He's going to go, no, this podcast.
Yeah.
Imagine
So I
that.
was in the cafe for 2 hours.
Yeah, you did get here early to me. I kept you waiting for 10
Meeting
minutes.
Smithy from away days. That's what it was. Glad I had that experience with Ronaldo first. No, I probably the most I've been nervous to film. Oh, I don't know, because like I was quite lucky in that was I'd filmed with quite a lot of footballers up to that point. So if that had been earlier, I think I'd have been just shitting it way more. But no, it has to be. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
I know, but I was quite cool with it. I watched myself back and I'm like, I'm actually quite impressed with how I was.
I don't think you seemed that nervous.
No.
In that interview. Is there anything we don't know about Ronaldo that you know from meeting him, or that you can divulge?
He was
what
just
he's
a
like off
nice
camera?
guy, which is really annoying. But I was really expecting like a really good story to have about him, just treating people really disrespectfully. But he was really lovely.
Is he one of the nicest footballers you've met? Would you say?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, genuinely. And I think that's why I come across absolutely fine in the video, because we got there and he was like, "How you doing? Have a seat.
that's
Take your
so true.
time."
That's so true.
And I'm sure he had hundreds of media people. He's got tons of cameras on him, so it's very much within his interest to look nice. But at the same time, not all people you meet definitely are like that. In terms of there's anything that
Anything he said to you off camera or anything that
said off camera. No, I think I've probably rinsed my very short interaction. I'm sorry, I don't have a bombshell or anything. There's one point where he, after the interview, he like walked over to sit down next to me and just like patted me on the back. And I was like, this is Ronaldo, like, one of the most famous people on the earth.
definitely.
And yeah, even when you just get like body contact with him, you're just like, what the hell?
How did you react when he patted
So
you?
I was like, yeah,
Not know what to do.
No, I was in cool mode by that point.
Yeah.
I was in, we're mates now. I've been on his Insta. He's tagged me, and
That's the second time he met you. Did he remember you from the first time?
his team said to me. But actually, I might not have said this. His team said to me, he's watched some of your videos and he really liked your videos.
So Ronaldo is a fan of ChrisMD.
I genuinely, I mean, maybe they just say that to me because they might, but from what they said, yes, Ronaldo has watched ChrisMD, and to be fair, I did actually show him my videos.
Yeah, it's a good point in the video. Yeah.
Maybe he had, but yeah, his team were very nice at the time.
So you must be buzzing with that when he says that.
I just think it's so weird for my friends as well, because I showed him these old clips of me playing football.
Yeah.
And so weird for my friends that I grew up with and played in the same football team, just thinking like, Ronaldo has seen us play football.
Yeah,
like,
that's a great
just
point.
so
And
weird.
if you think back to that moment before you were doing what you're doing now, that Ronaldo would be watching and commentating over
that pitch at that time.
Yeah.
It's strange how the universe works.
Yeah, who's the nicest footballer you've met?
Probably Fabregas or Hector
yeah.
Bellerin. They were both just incredibly lovely.
You were a massive fan of Fabregas growing up, right?
Talking about the match, I would get Match magazines, have like posters of Fabregas, and then put them up in my room.
Yeah.
I literally
The middle
had,
page, you'd pull it out.
Yeah, literally. And I would have just posters all like I genuinely had up by my bed when I was like a 10-year-old or something. I had Fabregas, Arshavin every now and then. But like he literally was the player that I had shirts of and everything, and to meet him and him just be such a lovely man was so
I've met him. He's a
sweet.
nice guy, to be fair.
He's lovely. Yeah, follow me on Twitter. Still likes my tweets these days. So clearly haven't
That's class.
tweeted anything cancelable yet that he didn't like. Yeah.
And in terms of footballers, I know it's different because some of the footballers you haven't actually played with, you've been in interview format with, but you have kicked ball with a lot of them. Who would you say are the best footballers in terms of like ballers?
Like quality. It's
because I'm intrigued to know the difference between, because they're all so high end. Like you say, ability wise, the best that you film with.
And I'm sure you get it where players you film with, some will put in very different levels of effort to others on the day.
I agree. Yeah.
So it's quite hard to tell. But I think the one that really stuck out for me was Ward-Prowse with free kicks. And I was just like, I consider myself a fairly decent free kick taker in my own right from doing it so many years on YouTube. But he was like, just the technique.
Yeah, his technique's outrageous, isn't it?
Hitting it in the same spot again and again and again. It was like genuinely just watching someone who's absolutely world class at something in person. It was so cool.
I like that because I'm a big. Basically, I play a little bit like Ward-Prowse in that I
I thought that.
not in that all I did as a kid was take free kicks, corners, and get assists. But I had, not saying he doesn't, but I wasn't particularly quick, good in the air. So I love someone who can whip a ball or got great. I used to love Bex. I used to love watching Bex. And I think Ward-Prowse's technique on a free kick is so underappreciated. It's just
for sure.
so good. So he's number one, would you say? Like the best
I think so.
footballer that you film with ability-wise is James Ward-Prowse.
So I'm actually interested to know your take on this. So I said, rather foolishly, in a podcast a little while ago on Pitch Side, I said that I think I could beat most Premier League footballers in a free kick challenge.
I heard you say that, and I heard Aaron Ramsdale react to that, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
My reasoning being,
Go on.
I think that a lot of footballers in the Premier League will have never taken free kicks properly before.
Right.
Because I think you can, to have the technique of getting it up and over a free kick wall, I think is quite a niche skill.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I think that Premier League footballers, I think being a top level footballer is the most difficult sport to be world class at, because if you're an Olympic diver and you're an Olympic pole vaulter, you've got a very small amount of people that, not very small amount of people
compared to football.
Comparatively, I'm not saying those people are obviously absolutely incredibly talented, but
you try pole vaulting, really hard. But I know what you're saying.
To more people, the amount of people that play football, I do think that Premier League footballers get very much slept on with, people being like, how talented they are and stuff. Having said that, so that's my reasoning for it. I'm interested to know your opinion. So you think
you'd outscore most Premier League footballers?
Not being the ones that take free kicks.
Right, okay, so it would be talking about Ward-Prowse.
It would be the defenders, it would be the centre-backs, it would be the CDMs.
I think you'd be amazed at how good technically, like even centre-backs now.
Yeah.
Like, I've been lucky enough in my job to go to a training centre. Before, like we'd film Crossbar Challenge, for instance, back in the day, I'd watch the last 10 minutes of training or something, and I was blown away by technically how good like the defenders were or the standard. And like I play in charity games sometimes, and when you get an ex-pro, Greg Halford played in a charity match recently.
He was unbelievable.
Paul Konchesky, I played a game with Joe Cole recently, and it was like the levels. There's so many levels.
It's absolutely
I don't agree with you.
And although I absolutely agree. I think the only reason why I said that is because I think it's such a specific skill. It's almost like an actual like technique of kicking the ball, and that's the only reason why. Anyway, I'm hoping that I've got a video coming out soon. It's in the works at the moment, where I basically do a free kick challenge with 10 Premier League footballers and try and beat 6 of them, and then I can that's my claim,
That's a great
and it would
idea.
be like a striker, a midfielder, a defender,
But don't get me wrong, you'd have more chance to get against the defender.
Against the defender than
that doesn't take free kicks.
Ward-Prowse. But even like filming with Ramsdale, I'm like, he can.
Do you see the clips of Ramsdale? That's a great point.
There's
a viral clip recently of him.
In the
scoring
Ben
goals
Foster video,
exactly
right?
from outside the box. He's outrageous.
Of course,
for a goalie.
Yeah,
it's amazing that. I want to ask about the KDB moment as well, because that still pops up on my timeline now. The moment where Simon, he does
him in the face.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about, off the bar face. When that happened, did you just know this is viral gold straight away? Because
I think so.
Do you know what's amazing about that is even the player that's in the goal is one of the biggest players. Even if that was
once in a lifetime moment.
Do you know what I mean? You mentioned some of the players, like just everything about that, and then you had Sterling's reaction. You had your just the fact that you've got some of the biggest influencers, some of the biggest players. It's raw. It's just one of those moments where you must have thought we've struck gold here with this.
I think I was just in such a weird state of dreamland in that, like, we'd been flown to Abu Dhabi on the same plane as the Man City squad, and they'd paid for us to stay in this like palace in Abu Dhabi. I don't think you really had much time to think about what was going on, to be fair. But like for that to be probably arguably the Premier League's best ever midfielder.
That's what I mean.
Just getting hit in the face by a Rabona.
Took it well,
Simon had pink hair at the time as well. It really didn't help to paint the influencer, sort of first
He'll be
impression,
back again.
I don't think. And especially as like, I feel like there wasn't many clips of people getting. There was that age-old clip where, it's on like a really barren pitch back in the day. That was like a viral YouTube clip of some guy having the ball kicked, hit the post, hit him in the face.
I know the one you mean.
Down.
I know the one you mean.
Yeah, that's the only time I think I'd seen it happen before.
Oh, you mean that specific skill, like off the post face,
hit someone in the face, all your mates just piss themselves, and for it to be De Bruyne and in like the 3 shots that Simon had that day or whatever.
How did he react to it? Because he seemed to take it.
He was fine. Yeah. I think he was probably more pissed about Sterling and Sane and Caballero just
laughing.
absolutely dying. Yeah,
He's a great person to interview, isn't he? Like,
he's
so
lovely.
honest.
Yeah,
so honest.
Yeah, really good.
Really
Really,
honest.
not like media trained as such, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think back in the day as well, he was probably slightly more on that. Like he was probably only 22, 23, so he was like very much more as, you know, a kind of like a younger guy, not really sure how to react in situations like that. I think these days he would be just like, you know, what the hell?
What is it?